What's going on, geeks? You're listening to episode 311 of the Geeks Under Grace podcast. My name's Cody Armour. I'm here with Lj.Lowery.
What up?
And Shelley Nollan.
Hello.
This week, we're geeking out about the return of E3, Netflix news, and a new documentary, because I love documentaries, and this one seems really, really cool and positive and nice.
Yeah.
Talk about it in a little bit. First, let's get into the games we've been playing. I don't think I've done anything new. Go figure. Game-wise. But I've watched a ton of TV over the holidays, so.
Nice.
Go ahead, LJ.
Yeah, so for video games, I have played a ton of Fall Guys since it's been out.
Heck yeah, because it's free now.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so if you've played it before, I believe I maybe have mentioned this in passing before, but if you've played before, you get the Season Pass, which is like the Battle Pass. And so, like, now I'm, like, level 30-something. I've unlocked the Among Us costume stuff. And then now I'm shooting for Mechagodzilla stuff, which is at the end. But I've been playing a lot of it with some friends. And we even did a little stream where I had a few of our stream team members play with me a few weeks ago. And it's still super fun. I'm playing it because, like, I'm not that hot on the new Fortnite season. And then the other thing I've kind of found myself getting into in a weird roundabout way is the Division 2, which is set in DC. And it has its virus-related themed stuff, but it's been cool to get back into. Nice, it's a fun looter shooter, and it's one of those games where I started playing music with, and like it just turns a gunfight into like a action scene right out of a movie, depending on what song is playing. So that's been kind of the thing I've passed the time with. But yeah, that's kind of it. That's kind of what I've been up to, just kind of in the past week or so. I feel like it's mostly been Fall Guys, though. So,
Shelley?
Yeah, I haven't played anything new. I don't know how it got me. It's freaking Stardew Valley. I have all these friends who are, like, obsessed with Stardew Valley and play it all the time and spend hours and hours and hours and hours on it. And I'm like, I can't. But that's becoming me. It's
You've
crazy.
been bit by the bug.
I have. It's like, I don't understand how this game continues to like Concerned Ape is such a good developer because I think part of it is like, there's always another goal to reach. There's always another thing to do in a game like this. Usually farming games or even more life sim games in general, it's like, it's hard to find another goal to do or another thing to get or, whatever. And that's usually where I'm pretty goal oriented when it comes to games and stuff. I need like a goal. I need to be like going towards something. But now with Stardew Valley, it's kind of like, okay, well, I'm now in year 2. So again, the first time I tried playing, I stopped like day 10 of the first season of year 1. So I'm already like, I'm just far surpassed where I was before. And there's just a bunch of more things to do, which is, like, really cool. And I know the content's just, like... I know of even more things. Like, I haven't even unlocked Ginger Island yet. That's a whole thing. And more. So, I think that's all very cool. But yeah, it's just, like... I've been playing that, and also I have still been playing Lego Star Wars. We're really close to 100%ing it. We are... one planet away of having all of the individual planets 100%ed.
That's cool.
But there's also bigger starships on top of that. They also have their own Kyber bricks. And there's some galaxy-wide, like, missions and things that you have to do, like, go to, like, multiple planets for. For example, there's a Wookiee called the Wandering Wookiee that appears, I'm pretty sure, on every single planet, and you have to find him and talk to him. On every planet in order to unlock him as a character. So, like, that's, for example, one thing that we still need to do. That's always fun. But anyway, yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Cool. Well, we'll get into the gaming news then. We got some exciting stuff coming out of this week, I feel like.
Oh, yeah. Exciting in many ways. The first piece of news is that I'm going with this first because... Last time I mentioned this was leaks and rumors, but Skull and Bones did get their reveal. They did get a special live stream showcase that talked about the game. Honestly, it doesn't like. So at first I was kind of like, oh, like it looks unique, and I'll check it out. But it also looks very servicey now, and it looks like they had a plan, and then Sea of Thieves came out, and somebody said scrap the plan, and this looks very games as service oriented now, which is kind of a bummer, because I don't think it needed to be. Like I said last time, I wanted a high seas adventure with maybe some like multiplayer, like ship battle, possibilities. But now this is like, it's so games as service oriented. But it still has a bit of a simulator aspect, which it just feels like it's in the middle of an identity crisis.
The crafting kind of got me. They mentioned it over and over, like how vital crafting is, and I was like, I don't really like crafting. I would rather.
And it seems like the crafting is going to be on a very basic level. It's probably going to be like, hey, go to this place. Here's a little spot. Here's a little spot you can walk to, and here's a cutscene or whatever. Like I don't think it's going to be anything that in depth.
It looks very grindy.
Yes, and that's the thing is like games as service. A lot of service games are grindy like that, and especially Sea of Thieves is like, because you're looking for renown in that game, and it feels like this game just took too many notes of like service games, which Ubisoft said like that's what they were going to be pivoting to a lot. But it's just sad because I'm like, man, I wanted just a single player high seas adventure with the chance to maybe get into some multiplayer like fleet like wars or something like that. Cool.
Definitely.
But
I've read a few different places that it was when Valhalla came out for Assassin's Creed, and they're like, man, I wish they would have just dropped Assassin's Creed and made a Viking game. And I was like, yeah, that would have been cool. And then kind of with this is like, it would have been nice if it was just like a single player pirate game that had some like multiplayer stuff.
Yep.
I mean, that's kind of the things that they're good at, and it would have been fun to kind of watch them branch out story wise. And then they could have, I mean, I don't know, they could have milked a pirate world forever.
Yep.
So we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah. This definitely game looks. I mean, it's been in development for so long, and the identity crisis is not the only crisis they're having here.
Yeah.
So, the reason why I wanted to start with this too is because a few days before this dropped, we got that God of War teaser trailer that also included the release date. Yeah. And the release date was November 9th, I believe. And then 2 days later, the Skull and Bones live stream happens, and they're like, hey, we're releasing November 9th. And then I'm just... November 8th. And then I'm just like, womp, womp, womp. Like, I'm just like, you guys done messed up.
Yeah.
But they had, in my opinion, they had no idea that was going to be announced.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it just happened.
I'm sure they were like, guys, we messed up.
Yeah. So then, like, even the God of War release date faced criticism because everybody's like, oh, well, you guys didn't have a holiday game, so you wanted it to be November. Also, I'm pretty sure they got tired of people just being like, when's the release date? When's the release date?
Yep.
So, and then in the midst of that, like 5 minutes before God of War stuff got revealed, Forspoken got delayed to January. So it was like Sony told Square Enix, because I believe that Forspoken is a PlayStation exclusive. They probably told them. Sure it is. They probably quoted Ludacris and said, "Move, get out the way." And so yeah, a lot of stuff has happened around this God of War announcement. So a lot of craziness there this past week, and God of War is going to be great. I mean, it's a known quantity. The story is going to be amazing. It's going to be a great game, and that's why it's like, oh, Skull and Bones doesn't even have a shot. There's no way. Nobody's going to buy that game. So unfortunate for Skull and Bones, but hey, we're getting God of War. We have a release date for God of War.
I'm so excited for it.
Yes. Yeah, and at first I was of the mind, I'm like, hey, I really want to check this out, but then the more I just watched of that thing, I'm like, no, this isn't the thing I wanted. So
it's too bad.
Yeah. Anyway, on some more good news, I guess. E3 is officially returning in 2023. I believe somebody had said something that it was about it returning, and so there was something around there, but it is official that E3 will be returning in 2023, according to the ESA, and they have actually got a very well known promotional company to do their stuff. The company is called ReedPop, and they've done PAX, they've done New York Comic Con, they've done Star Wars Celebration. So it's like, with all that under your belt, like, it's, I think it's going to be, I hope it's honestly one of the best E3s, like, we've had in a long time. Because it's been 3 years since we've actually had
E3. It's taken 3 years. Oh.
Yeah. It has. Because, honestly, I was okay with E3 being gone, but I would still love one day for us to be able to apply for press passes for E3 and actually go to an E3.
Oh,
I think that would be amazing.
So cool. It'd be so cool.
Yes, and so that dream can still happen. So
yeah,
and I'm excited because we've obviously we've been to PAX, and so we know what PAXs are like, and all those events that ReedPop has done are very community oriented, and I think to me it's a good sign, at least as somebody who's been to an event that this company has done. So I hope the ESA just lets them kind of take the wheel and kind of do what people want. So that's kind of where I'm at with that E3 news. It's exciting for me, at least.
Oh yeah, no, I'm hyped.
Very,
very excited about that.
Yeah, and it's always a good time. It's like when when E3 comes around, there's going to be big stuff. Like, we still had big stuff this year, but it still felt like a little like, oh, it's not E3 season. Like, it's... So, yeah. That's gaming.
Cool. We will get into the movies then. I know you guys watched a much bigger movie than I.
Yes.
So, what are your guys' thoughts? No spoilers on the new Thor movie. Yeah, go ahead.
I wish I liked it more.
I'll say this. It feels very much on the same level as Multiverse of Madness.
Okay.
Very different feel, obviously.
Well, on the same level as, like, quality, like how good it was for me. It's one of those things where it's like you're definitely going to see the director's handprints on this movie. Mm-hmm. But it may not be the best Marvel movie, but it's a great movie for being done by that director. Okay. I will say this: I feel like I can recommend Thor to people more than I can Doctor Strange, because it's not a horror thing. Like, it's
right.
It's a fun action comedy, and like Doctor Strange has the horror thing where it's like, yeah, like I know this person wouldn't be that into all the horror stuff or the spooky stuff, Yeah,
it is more kind of it feels more classic Marvel phase. I guess whatever Ragnarok came out, and right, it's like Ragnarok came out. And kind of kickstarted whatever phase that was. I don't remember which one. It was either 2 or 3. So it feels very much like that, whereas Multiverse of Madness felt very, very different from that. And even some of their other projects, like their shows and things, sometimes feel a little bit different from that. So it feels like that. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, I really liked Ragnarok, but I didn't like this movie that much. And so part of me is like, well, if you like Ragnarok, you'll like this movie. But I feel like I'm not, like, I don't know. But I could be an exception. I very, very well could be an exception. If you really like Ragnarok, I still feel like it's very likely you'll like this movie. And a lot of people love Ragnarok. So, I don't know.
Yeah. That's the best way I could describe it. Like, there are some things that they do that are absolutely really awesome and really good. But then there are other questionable things that kind of make you go, okay, why? But that's like Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I think definitely don't even need to share any spoilers for this. Christian Bale is amazing. I think Christian Bale as Gore was definitely my favorite part of the whole movie. Was just him. Anytime he was on screen, he was just owning the show, and it was very, very cool. I like his concept as a villain. I like just his character in general. So that is very, very awesome. And so
Yep.
Cool. All right. I will be seeing it probably next week sometime. I just didn't get to it this week.
Cool. That's fine.
Yeah. I'm excited. I like Thor. I don't know. We'll see.
I think you'll like it, Cody. I think
you'll still like it. Like, I'm not. Like, we're not saying like, oh, this is trash.
Yeah, it's just not the best movie Marvel's ever put out. I worry, and I still think this. I think the scope of Endgame is really kind of messed with Marvel movies and our expectations. It's just something so epic, and then you have to dial back in some way.
It's been hard to beat.
Yeah.
I think part of it is too, is I was talking with my husband about this, right? And it's like, where I found, like, a lot of people are just saying that phase 4 is bad, or whatever phase this is. I think it's 4. They're just, a lot of people are saying, like, this, it's just bad. Like, everything's bad. It was like, well, let me think about what I have really, really, really liked so far. I've really liked Shang-Chi. I've really loved Moon Knight. And even some of the other shows, like, have been pretty good. But it's like, I think it's, and I haven't even watched Miss Marvel yet, but I heard Miss Marvel is still really good. So it's sort of like I don't know, I think maybe they just need to focus on these new characters. I think when they keep bringing about these old characters like Doctor Strange and Thor, it's kind of like hard for me to get reinvested when it feels like so much of their story has already been told and so much has already happened with these characters that part of me wants to, I don't know, I just think I'm having more fun learning more about new people rather than going back to, especially someone like Thor, like even Doctor Strange, he kind of was still due for a sequel. Like, he still kind of needed a sequel, I think. So I'm actually not upset at all that he got one, per se. But when it comes to Thor, it's like, he was still one of the very first superheroes that we were introduced to. He was in the original Avengers. If you think about every single other person in the original Avengers, none of them are really around anymore. Like, none of them. For one reason or another. And he's still just around. And so I'm like, okay, why? Like,
even Hawkeye's story was very, like...
Yeah.
To himself. I mean, it was in one city. The stakes weren't super high. Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I feel without spoilers.
Cool.
So, yeah. Definitely still better than Dark World, though.
Hawkeye probably wasn't, like, the strongest of the shows, either.
Yeah.
It was up there for me, though.
Yeah. Interesting. I watched a movie that wasn't, like, crazy. It's a Hulu original. Facebook kept telling me to watch it, and I was like, okay. And it's called The Princess. And I don't know if people have seen ads. I don't know how many people are getting the Hulu thing that was like, you have to watch this movie. But basically the story of it is that this princess is, like, told that she has to marry this guy. She decides not to, and so he, like, is a bad dude and, like, imprisons her. And she basically escapes the tower at the top of the castle. And it is her violent escape from the top of the castle. And it's a lot of fun. If you guys remember, like, Dread with Carl Urban.
Oh, yes. I watched that not too long ago, actually.
Yeah, if I remember correctly. He's, like, the top of a mall or something, right? And he kind of works his way down. Or is he working his way up?
Working his way up, yes.
Working his way up. And so it's kind of the same thing. Like, the entire movie is in this one building for the most part.
Yeah, it's in a giant apartment building that he's in
that's
Dread.
right. Yeah, it's been a while. It felt very similar to me. It's like rated R. It's very gory. It's very much about the choreography, and so if you're,
I love when movies can have like a centralized one location like that. It's fun.
Yeah, I think what's really interesting is you never learn her name. Okay. She is the princess the entire time, and I thought that was really, like, interesting. It was something I didn't actually notice until after the movie was over.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's just how deep the action is. The story really isn't that crazy. It's just her making her way down in cool choreography. It feels very video gamey.
I was gonna say there's movies like that can almost feel very video gamey without even trying. You know? Yeah,
I don't want to give too much of the action away, but there's a point where there's a bunch of people with shields on their backs. And she gets them all to, like, get down as she jumps on each shield to get across.
That's cool.
It looks like it's straight out of a video game.
That's awesome.
So it is fun. There is some frontal male nudity, kind of. It's like in a silhouette, and then other than that, it's not very. It's just gory. It's just graphic.
Okay.
Violently. It's not. There's not a ton of, like, nudity in it or anything.
Right.
Hour and a half long. It's fun. I would not have seen it in theaters for sure. But for a TV movie, it's cool.
Sweet.
Yeah. Did you guys watch anything else this week?
I did, and I want to give it a shout out mainly because Owen Wilson.
Okay.
But I watched. So there was a recent J.Lo movie that came out called "Marry Me," and it's a romantic comedy.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, and in the trailer where she's like. She looks into the crowd, and he has a sign that says "Marry Me."
Yes.
But I need to know about this movie.
It's on Prime. You can watch it on Prime for free. Free, but
it sounds ridiculous.
So, no, it is ridiculous, but in the most self-aware way possible. So I think she even produced this movie because it's basically her poking fun at her own relationship issues because she's been in a lot of relationships, and the last relationship she was in was with a baseball player. And it was one of these things where it's like, the whole plot is like, oh, like they're about to do this concert, and it's so cheesy. And it's very self-aware. They have all these little celebrity cameos, and they got all the licensing to do all this stuff. And so they're basically about to do this concert where, like, they're gonna, like, get married on stage and stuff. And so she finds out midway through that, like, oh, like, he's cheating on her or something. And so she's like, well, I'm gonna pick somebody out from the crowd. And it's absolutely cheesy, but, like, purposefully. And so
yeah, for sure.
And so Owen Wilson, he's there because, like, a friend of his, like, she bought, I think it's Sarah Silverman, actually. So the people she was going to invite couldn't go. So then she's like, oh, come to this concert with me, bring your daughter. And then she's like, hold this at one point. And so he's got the sign up, and so she chooses him. And that's, like, basically spoils, like, the beginning of the movie, pretty much. But what I love about the movie the most...
that's all in the trailer, I feel.
Well, yeah, that's true. But what I love about the movie the most is, like, you know, they're her publicists and all her people are like, well, like, what can we do? And just, you know, what can we do? Like, we can pay him or we can do this. But he's, like, the absolutely most normal dude. And she's like, well, why not? Like, why don't I just actually, like, try to get to know him? Like, why don't I just own my decision? And so, to me, it's a great movie because it's, like, they're actually trying to get to know each other as people. Which in, like, most of these romantic comedies and movies, they romanticize the spontaneousness of stuff like that. And so I just really love that, like, it's like they're trying to be normal people and trying to get to know each other as normal people. And then it does get back into some romantic comedy tropes later on, which are like, okay, yeah, this is a romantic comedy. Like, that makes sense. But, like, I just loved how, like, just most of the movie was like, no, let's just be people and get to know each other. And my mom will be absolutely happy that I mentioned this movie. She's been trying to get me to watch it.
Heck yeah.
But no, it was... And Owen Wilson, like, I know, like, Owen Wilson's a figure in the internet culture and the geek realm. So it's just, like, it was really cool for it to be Owen Wilson, because if it was any other guy or any other, like, particular movie star that was a particular way, I would have been like, nope, keep me out of it. But, like, he's a normal dude, it feels like, you know, and it's just... I liked it because of him and because of like, it felt like they were trying to bring a genuine look at, you know, at relationships. And even, you know, Jennifer Lopez was taking a genuine look at her own relationship issues and being like, hey, I messed up. Because, like, she's even back with, like, Ben Affleck now and stuff like that. And so it's just like, I love that it was like I love that it was so self-aware, and she was basically taking jabs at herself the entire movie.
That's awesome. I really like that.
Yes. And so there's a lot to like about it. Even though it is a romantic comedy, it's like, yeah, but it just feels more special than that. So.
I'm a big fan of rom-coms that sort of are self-aware, right?
Yes.
And are sort of like flip the whole... Like, that's why I love Horimiya and Love is War so much, because they do the same thing. With Horimiya, kind of more similar. Like, it's... I mean, I guess it is more of a romance than a comedy, I will say. There are some comedic elements, though, just because most anime does have some comedic elements. But it is very much looking at this, like, genuine relationship, and it's like taking a look at the actual relationship, not just this idea that's like, oh, once these two characters get together, then it's the end. It's like, no, they, like, get together, and they, like, the show is, like, about them and about their friends and about breaking expectations, right?
Yes.
And then obviously with Love is War, it's like their whole thing is that they're making fun of this whole aspect where it's like, oh, like, you have to get together and, like, and you have to confess first, or like having the other person confess first. Like, they take it to the max and, like, make fun of it, and so that's why it's like super funny. But I just I'm a big fan of, like, rom-coms or even romances that are not, if that's like, it even reminds me of one of my favorite romance movies, About Time. I guess that's also technically a rom-com, but again, I kind of see, it's like, when I think of that movie, technically, yes, it's about a romance, but it's not, like, so much more than that. To quote the name of the movie, it's About Time. Like that's like not, I'm not even kidding. That's like what it is about. It's about like the concept of time and like how do you use your time well, what do you prioritize, and like they introduce a romance into it. I would recommend anybody watch About Time. It's a very, very good movie. It's one of my favorite romance movies in a genre, a live action. I don't really love romances in general. I do like rom-coms, but this is a really good one. So that being said is maybe I would watch Marry Me at some point.
Yes, I think it's worth a watch. Yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
And it's on Prime.
Yeah. Very good.
Sounds good. Awesome. What else have you been watching, Shelley?
I watched some pretty bad movies.
Yeah?
I'm still on our Star Wars kick. So we watched, cause last Star Wars movie we watched was, Return of the Jedi, right? So episode 6.
So you just kept
the
going?
end of the original trilogy. So we just kept going.
Ooh.
We went episode 7 and episode 8. And I've actually seen episode 7 at more than twice in my life before this. The Last Jedi, I'd only seen once before this. I think it was only in theaters. I think that's the last time I saw it was in theaters, which is like really weird to think about.
I've only seen it twice, like in theaters and then a rewatch.
Yeah, and we watched them back to back. We weren't planning on it. We watched them back to back.
Oh, wow.
And I know a lot of people say that Rise of Skywalker is the worst movie. I guess some people say Last Jedi. A lot of people are still really salty about The Last Jedi. I don't know. I don't really like any of them.
I feel like the narrative has turned on The Last Jedi, I think. There's a lot of people that go, okay, maybe he was actually onto something. And now, like...
Yeah, it's just so unfortunate. It's like if the entire sequel trilogy was just given to one guy.
Yeah.
Either one. Like, J.J. Abrams or Rian Johnson. I think it could have been really good.
Yeah.
If anything, I would say give it to Rian Johnson, honestly. But, no.
Yeah, because then they spent that last movie trying to basically clean up everything that Rian Johnson
so
did.
Bad. So, but we actually did have a lot of enjoyment watching it because we kind of were like, trying to rewrite the movies. We're like, well, if I was the writer, I would do this instead. We would do that instead. So, like we were talking about how like they introduced Rey, because this even just within The Force Awakens, right? It gets worse as you watch on to different movies. But even just within The Force Awakens, there's already a lot of like weird issues where it's like, Rey's a scavenger, and that's like a really cool thing. And it's like I kind of want to see more of that kind of play into her character. But after the first half of that movie, that entire concept of her being like a scrapper and a scavenger is completely forgotten about. Completely like, and they never talk about why Maz has Luke's lightsaber. They never mention it. They ask, "Why do you have this thing?" She's like, "Good question for another time." That other time never comes. And so and we were like going insane, but we're just like, well, okay, what if they like had this thing where it's like maybe Rey found something very interesting when on one of her like scrapping or scavenging missions, whether it was the lightsaber or not, but like what if she found something important? What if she found that dagger that they introduced in Rise of Skywalker that apparently was really important? Like what if she found something and that is what made her relevant to the rest of the plot? Because the way she gets introduced to the rest of the plot is BB-8 randomly finds her. And it's like, then all of a sudden she's the most important character in the movie, and it's like really weird. And again, that could have been played off just fine if she was just a random person. But this is the J.J. Abrams movie, and it's in the last movie where he's like, oh no, she was a Palpatine the whole time, so that makes that much worse. And it just like, I don't know, it just kind of is mind-boggling. We were saying how it would be way more interesting if Rey was just another like chosen one type character, just like Anakin was. And that could even go into the reason why there is this sort of Force dyad thing going between Kylo Ren and Rey, because they never really explained that. Like, Snoke's like, haha, well, it was me who did this, but, like, I think he was lying, or, like, it just doesn't make any sense, right? So, but it would have been really cool if it's like, okay, here's the actual bloodline, sort of connection by the body to, Anakin Skywalker, the chosen one. We're just thinking, like, what if they took the Avatar take, where, like, she, like, has, like, his, like, spirit, or, again, like the Avatar, like, she is kind of, like, that. And so she has like kind of like his soul in a way, if that makes sense. People who've seen Avatar probably know what I'm talking about. Kind of like that concept. And so then they have a connection because it's like, well, she's like the chosen one now. But then there's Kylo Ren, who's like blood related to him, so he's also really important. Like, I don't know, they could have there's just so many things. There's so many, I've read, the most enjoyment I've gotten from these movies is reading other people's fan edits and like fan rights and like cool. Just changing things, and like we're having a lot of fun being like, well, this didn't make sense. Well, they could have made it make sense if they did this instead. And it's just so unfortunate because really it is just like I'm not trying to dog on these directors. It really was just because neither of them could have the entire pie. They each had to have different pieces.
They've got on record saying they had no plan, like, before. Yeah. Exactly. You need a plan. So it's just, like, really sad. And, but, yeah, we watched that movie. I don't know, maybe we'll watch Rise of Skywalker. If anything, Rise of Skywalker is fun because it's literally anime. Like, okay, not literally. I shouldn't use that word. But it's just anime. Is. It just is. I remember, like, watching it in the theater with the lighting and all the ships around and Rey's there and everyone's talking to her. And I'm like, it's anime. That's like the spirit bomb. Yeah, it's so funny. So, give me your
anyway, probably ranted about enough. I'm just really sad that they're not good movies.
I've been tempted to give that one a rewatch myself, so I may consider it, but I know it's going to be a rough ride.
I think I need to watch all of them again.
Watch what?
All of them again. It's all 9, 10, 11 movies.
Yeah, do it.
I did that before Rise of Skywalker came out, and I burnt myself out for quite a while, so maybe it's time for Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, it's just because, we're just throwing the Star Wars cake, finishing Obi-Wan and still playing through Lego Star Wars. I can't believe Lego Star Wars has given some of these sequel characters more character and development than the actual movies, but whatever. I probably don't need to rant about it anymore.
Cool. Well, we can get into some movie news then.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah. So, we do have one trailer to go over today. I actually want to talk about the two other news pieces first, because I think we'll want to talk about the trailer a little bit more. So the first thing I want to talk about is that apparently the director for Top Gun is talking to Tom Cruise about maybe making a third one.
I haven't seen the Top Gun 2, but they do not need it.
I just think that they probably had no idea that Top Gun 2 was going to be as big as it has been. And they want to, as per Hollywood does, they want to capitalize on it. They want it to...
They don't need it.
Money grab.
No. I'm sure they don't.
No.
And you've seen Top Gun 2, right, LJ?
Yes, they do not need it. Like, this needs to be just the send-off. Like, it really does. Like, I think they just need to leave it. I mean, so the thing, too, is, like, I ended up liking Miles Teller after a while. Like, his character, because he's the son of one of the characters in the original movie, which, go figure. But I don't know that, like, the rest of the crew in that movie doesn't really get a chance to shine much. So it's like, I can't say that the crew of newbies was good enough for me to be like, okay, they need a sequel.
Yeah.
But it's an amazing movie, and so is the first one. So I really don't think they need a sequel.
Mm-hmm. It's like it's a good thing, but there could be too much of a good thing.
Yes,
and sometimes you just want to let good things lie. We were just talking about Star Wars, like sometimes you just need to let it be.
We're down with remaking some more old school movies like that, like the Rambo movies and Creed, and that was kind of cool. Not Rambo, Rocky. Creed, and those were like have done really well. Not as well as Top Gun, but
and I think that and having Stallone behind those movies is what made those special. Yeah. And I think as long as you have Tom Cruise behind these movies, they'll stay special. So I hope that if they do a sequel, that Tom Cruise is still going to be involved in it. He doesn't have to be in it. But I think if he's involved in it, I think it could still be something special.
Find old Tom Cruise movies and sequel them out. I don't know. Mission
Impossible's still popping movies out.
Yeah, it's crazy to me.
They've gotten lucky though, because I think I said before though, those went stale for like a short time and then they got good again. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
To be fair, if they did a sequel to oh gosh. Few Good Men, I think that's what it's called.
Oh, yeah.
I'd
be cool.
probably watch it. Even though I've talked so many times about how I hate when Hollywood's like, oh, let's find this old series, let's find this old movie and make a sequel and make a thing.
Yeah.
I don't
And
know.
there's
so
still a
built
few
on
that
nostalgia
have
now.
gone untouched.
Yeah, it's like all nostalgia, man. It's so annoying, but
There's an idea that
I
runs
mean-
around Facebook all the time to take bad movies and remake them.
Yeah.
And I love that because I want Aragon
honestly,
to be done justice.
I
Yep.
think you're right. I think that's what we need to do. Why try to remake or make a sequel for already good movies?
Yeah.
Why not just try to make concepts that were good kind of in a vacuum and actually make them good? Like, sure, maybe the movie itself wasn't good, but maybe you could try
Yeah.
again now that you have the hindsight, the foresight, you have all the sights, right? You have the technology. I am more of a fan of that. than
Aragon
I am
could be
of-
cool.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
what else. There's a lot of them though. A lot of 80s movies I feel like could get a remake that just didn't do well.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, rip Aragon. No one's talking about Aragon.
I'm all about Aragon. That's all I really
Did
want.
that-
I just
did-
want
when that-
Aragon.
When that movie came out,
Mhm.
was the book series finished at that point?
The book series was not finished, but the second book I think was out.
It was in the height of its popularity for sure.
Well, see, because
Yeah.
that's what I mean. It's like, and now that all the books are out,
Yep.
then that actually gives them more direction if they were to try
Right,
again.
yeah.
But I
You
doubt.
even
I
take-
kind of doubt they would. But
You can even take the last one and do a part 1 and part 2. I'm just kidding.
oh my gosh, that's how you
Here,
do it.
small rant. Aragon was one of my favorite book series in high school, middle school, whenever it came out.
And the movie
And
was
in that movie, there is a town. In the book, there is a town that is made out of stone, and it's beautiful. And in the movie, it is this like swampy version of Venice.
That's
Like
right,
everything's
then
on a
it's the
pond,
swamp.
and it's
Yeah.
literally so bad that like that town is so important for its stonework in the second book that they couldn't make a sequel because it literally wouldn't have made sense to the movie that they had made.
Somebody didn't read the book.
Yeah. Trash. It makes me so sad. Anyways, I was real bummed. Time for another Aragon. Anyways, Dune. Dune is I mean, I don't know if the Dune movie, the original movie, did really poorly or not, but the new Dune was great.
I mean, I think for its
Right.
time, it was okay. Like, it was cheesy. But yeah, that's just got a remake. That
And the remake was great. Do more of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Exactly. Anyway, so Top Gun 3, maybe. We are still getting Captain America 4.
Woot.
We just got our director confirmed for that. Let me double check his name. He is the director for Cloverfield Paradox. That's his most popular thing. He also directed Loose, which I've never heard of, but same as Julius Ona. He's a Nigerian American filmmaker. So cool. Captain America 4. I guess that's just going to be like a sequel to the show?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Anthony Mackie's going to be in it.
I'm
Yeah.
unsure how important the show will be. I don't know if the show... I still feel like the show was filler. And that
Okay,
it'll
yeah.
kind of be based more off of what we saw with just at the end of Endgame. Or would it be... Yeah, Endgame was the last one, right? Infinity War and then Endgame?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which isn't a lot of information. But I think like that whole show was on how he becomes Captain America. And like you could watch those movies
Yeah.
without that show and still get the context of what's going on.
I think you're right.
We'll see. I'm
Yeah.
kind of hoping that the show does add enough value
Yeah.
to the movie, but I feel like
I
it's
mean, the
not
show
going
was
to.
meant to pass the torch for sure. Like,
Yeah, and it kind of like it shows him sort of training. It shows him more as a character, shows Bucky off more as a character and their relationship a little bit. Introduces a kind of weird villain, and that was all strange.
Yeah.
But no, I think you're right. I think that's probably for the best too. If they just introduce him, he's like, "Yep, he's Captain America. He's been doing this for a little bit now, and he kind of knows the ropes. And now he has a new problem to tackle. And also, Bucky's probably still around because
I say
we
that,
love
though,
Bucky.
and I feel like Doctor Strange would have maybe been a little confusing without seeing WandaVision, but I still don't think so. I think if you would have watched it,
It would have been really
confusing.
confusing. I think.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
I think it kind of explained
I think it would
everything.
be really confusing because
So maybe I'm wrong then. Maybe Falcon and Winter Soldier will.
yeah, because Wanda's whole arc is assuming that we watched WandaVision, which most people did.
Yeah, I guess the kids would be
most
kind of.
people
You were
do.
like, where did she get kids? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Exactly. Kind of like, what the frick is
The Darkhold
going on
part.
here?
I'm
And
like,
also
I should have
just
the
when
Darkhold at
he,
some point.
when he talks with her and says, and she's like, "Oh, are you here to talk about this thing?" He's
Yeah,
like, "I'm not here to
literally
talk about
mentions
that
Westview.
thing." So it's
Yeah.
like, okay.
So maybe it'll have more payoff than I think it will be. I kind of hope so. I mean, there's a lot in there. There's a, we've got, I can't remember the kid's name. There's two of them that could be sidekicks.
Yeah.
There's a guy that got Falcon's old outfit, and then
That's right.
I can't remember what his name is.
Yeah. I don't know.
They go to the Black Captain America's house. I can't remember. He was a super soldier.
Yeah.
His kid in the comics gets blood transfusion, and he gets his powers.
Oh, it's a Patriot, or I think Patriot.
The Patriot? That might be it.
Something like that, yeah.
And so that's another thing they're talking about, like maybe for Young Avengers, he'll be in. So it'd be cool if he made the movie. But
Yeah,
we'll see.
and then even to see John Walker again somewhere, I would really like to see what they do with that, with John
Yeah,
Walker somewhere.
I could see that.
Like, he's a character you kind of love to hate.
That's
And I kind of want to see
true.
what else they do.
I'm excited to see him in
Yeah,
Thunderbolts.
you know what? That movie did kind of leave off with some implications. Or movie, I'm sorry, series. That
Yeah.
series kind of did. Also, it's really weird for me to think back to how that show ended and how it also connected to Black Widow.
Yeah.
Remember
Yeah.
that? I
Yeah.
was like, and that also connected to Hawkeye? It's
Yeah.
connected to both. So weird. Yeah, that's weird to think about.
It's true. Hawkeye would have
Anyway.
been super confusing if you'd not seen
Yeah.
Black Widow.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Maybe there'll be
And
more
so this
implications
is,
than I
I
realized.
think this
So
is
much.
why Thor and Doctor Strange feel so weird, is because everything else is going really hard on connecting stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we need
I
to
don't
get a
know.
Thunderbolts
Something's off.
movie. I'm excited.
Something's off for sure.
Uh,
Anyway, so that trailer I mentioned, it's for
Oh, yeah.
The Day Shift, which is a Netflix original. Has Jamie Foxx, Dave Franco. It looks really cool. I don't know. It looks really fun because it's like about vampire hunters in modern day.
I
But
hope
it's
there's
like,
a Morbius joke. It's Morbin
like-
time.
it's Morbin time.
And I love how it's set in LA and Snoop Dogg's in it. Like, it's gonna be very, like, West Coast heavy influenced, like, for sure.
Yeah, I just think it's like
Just hope it's not very Bright-esque.
No. I
no,
don't
it
think
doesn't
so.
look like it. Doesn't
Yeah.
look like it. That's what's crazy to me is that it's like a concept. When I watched this trailer, I was like, how come no one's ever done this yet? Where it's like they take something that is technically rooted in fantasy, but they bring it to the modern world, but it's not like they bring all this other stuff to the modern world. You know, like
Yeah.
all this other fantasy. And maybe they would in the
It's
actual
like, from
movie,
the
maybe
outside
they're
world, it
missing
just
stuff.
probably looks like he's just murdering people, you know? Like,
Yeah,
he's
he's just
just
like,
killing
but then he like sells the teeth to get money, and that it's a
Yeah.
business. It's not just like a, like Castlevania, or it's not like, oh, we just need to destroy these vampires
For the
because
good
they're
of the
evil. He's
world.
like, it's a business. It just happens that they are also murderers, so it's like good business because people want the stuff. And
love
so
it.
it's like he's trying to support his family. He's trying to, and I don't know. I'm just like, that's actually really smart.
It
It
John
looked
Wick
like
people are involved. I don't know
yeah.
who
looks-
from John Wick.
it
I didn't
looks
look
so
that up.
fun.
But
it's probably the choreographer and, like, the writer and stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
It would be my guess.
like
it
the
looks fun.
choreography and the stuff they already showed looked brilliant to me. Like, it
Yeah.
already looked like they're doing some cool stuff with the action.
there was a post on Facebook, kind of a sidebar on this, that I loved. It was about a guy becoming a vampire but not knowing that he became a vampire. So he's telling his friends, he's like, I don't know, I just get a wicked sunburn when I go outside. And he's like, yeah, I'm allergic to garlic. It's kind of this new thing. He's like, my tongue just
Bro.
swells out real bad. And then
Bro.
it
That's
was
so
like,
funny.
why don't you ever go to someone's house unless they invite you? You never like want to go do anything. And he was like, I don't know, that's just polite.
I just feel like I need to. Yeah.
That's great.
Oh my gosh.
Amazing.
That's so funny. But yeah, it's just, and it's even fun. They have a Twilight joke that's just like, this isn't like Twilight. This
Oh,
isn't
that
like
one
Breaking
cracked
Dawn,
me
This
up.
isn't like New Moon. And he's like, why do you know all of the titles?
I
of the
love
Twilight
Dave Franco.
series? I
Yeah,
love that. That's so funny.
Yeah, it looks
Um,
really funny.
yeah. So I don't know. It just like looks like a fresh, cool idea. So
Yeah.
and that's again coming to Netflix.
Yep.
Definitely exciting. All right, we will get into TV news then. I've seen so much TV
There's been a lot of TV.
Yeah.
There's been a lot.
For me to have more to talk about in movies and TV than video games recently, it says a lot. Like,
Yeah.
I've been watching so much too.
The obvious one, 4th of July week, I guess. We got some Stranger
Things.
Things.
Right before.
Yeah, the Friday, right?
Yeah, that was the first two.
I watched it all that night, and I don't know. Show's great. I'm glad we're getting another season.
It took me 2 days because I watched the first volume on Friday night, like late at night.
Oh wow!
And I saw the length of the volume 2, and I said, "Yep, I'm saving that for tomorrow."
We had seen it all before volume 2 came out, and so volume 2 came out. We watched volume 2 in one night.
No, that's what I mean. As far as like the last 2 episodes, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you were a little late.
I watched every episode. I watched on a different day. I don't think there was a single. Maybe the first couple episodes in season 4, like part 1, I watched on the same day. But every other one, they were like such long episodes that we would always watch.
I did blaze through those first 7 episodes, but it was those last 2. That
You're probably able to absorb a lot more that way.
Yeah.
I feel like that's one problem with binge watching is you watch so much of it that you forget so much information by the end of it. You don't get to really process the things that are going on in the show.
For sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Good
love the show. It's just the quality met expectations, surpassed expectations for me, as I was like, it's not really going to be that good.
I have thoughts about like the end and how they kind of like wrap things up, but overall, like it was amazing. Like,
yeah.
Really.
I'm glad that we're getting another season. I'm glad I like the way that they set up another season.
I'm glad it's going to be the last one because, as we've just talked about already, sometimes too much of a good there can be too much of a good thing, and I honestly think Stranger Things can fall victim to that. So I'm really glad that they're just going to do a season 5, and it sounds like they're going to have kind of like the old gang back together again. It's going to. I read this interview, or at least I heard from this interview that the Duffer Brothers were saying that it's going to be. They're hoping for it to be kind of a Return of the King-esque ending, which I'm like, that's crazy to me. Like,
cool.
That'd be awesome. So I'm really excited for season 5. I just think I read it's gonna be 2024.
Yeah, I gotta wait a couple years.
Out next year,
which is fine. Give them time.
It is fine because at least they're telling us.
I think they said they're. Did they mention something of a time skip, or was that implied?
I think
there is gonna be one.
I mean, there has to be, right? But I guess I didn't know if that was confirmed or not.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, they could.
I remember reading something about a time skip, but that could have been people theorizing.
Yeah.
I thought that season 4 was going to be more than they needed. When we had season 3, they were talking about season 4 is going to be last. I was like, okay, good, because season 3 felt kind of. I feel like season 3 wouldn't fall flat, but it was not as great as the other 2 seasons, and it was kind of like, all right, we need to get this done. Soon.
I agree.
And then season 4, I guess maybe just because we missed it so much. When we came back, it was so
I feel like season 3 had to happen for 4 to be so good, though.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think season 4, again, like, I think the feelings I got from season 4 were very reminiscent of the feelings I got from season 1.
Yes.
Which, like, season 1, outside of this season, I don't know which one that would rank first. I have to rewatch the show, honestly. It makes me want to rewatch the show. Like, in its entirely, essentially, or at least the first 3 seasons. But
I might do a rewatch before 5 comes out.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to. But it's like those same feelings I had for season 1 when I loved that show so much. That kind of got reignited with season 4. It didn't even get reignited with season 2 or 3, in my opinion. Like, it was like season 1 is what I think of when I think of Stranger Things, and now when I think of Stranger Things, I'm thinking of season 4. And I think that's probably the sign of a good show.
And I want to clarify, too, I didn't think season 3 was bad by any means. It was just getting to a point where I was like, okay, I think we're seeing a lot of the same things. We need to finish this up.
It was the weakest,
before it ends up being too
out
much.
of the 3.
Yeah. And season 4, then I'm like, okay, now I'm in. Bring it back.
Yep.
Let's do it again.
Yep.
Yeah, but I'm excited for it to end in a really good, satisfying way.
Yes.
And not for it to have it get dragged on or eventually canceled. Right. That's just... Both of those are so heartbreaking when it comes to shows that
I still think they can't get away from some of their own tropes, but that's not like a bad thing also. Like, I'm like, okay, I should have expected that.
Mm-hmm.
No, for sure. I get what you're saying. Good show, though. Good show. And for anybody out there who's like kind of like maybe watched season 1 or episode 1 of Stranger for... oh my gosh, I can't speak. For anyone out there who watched the first episode of this newest season, season 4, and you're thinking that might be too scary, I want to assure you that now that we've seen all of it, that is still by far the scariest episode.
It was very heavy, yeah.
Like, that first episode's scary. After you've gotten that, like, you'll be fine the rest of the show. Like, I had to tell my parents that because they watched the first episode and were like, we I don't know. But it's also funny because they're also like, yeah, well, we're watching Ozark. And I'm like, this is not as bad as Ozark. I'm telling you. Like, I'm telling you. So... Anyway, just if anyone's nervous about that out there, the first episode really just kind of lays it on you, and then the rest of the show, you're going to be fine.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I kind of had that feeling. I have a friend who hasn't watched it, and so I was like, you'd probably like the first few seasons. It might be too scary at this point, but you're right. It was kind of that first episode, kind of just set a tone, I feel like.
Exactly. It did set the tone. 100%.
Yeah, now that you say it.
You're like, oh, shoot!
Yeah.
What's happening?
I was like, dang, this got dark. But then I remember, what was her name that dies in the swimming pool in the first season?
Barb!
Oh, the character that's not as good as everybody.
Barb.
Yeah.
Barb. Yeah. I mean, that was a pretty scary moment in that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she was a horror movie death.
Yeah.
Sorry, I still have beef with people who think she shouldn't have died. She was a horror movie death. That's all she needed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely on the opposite end of TV shows. I've been watching Miss Marvel. LJ, you've been watching too?
Yeah, I really liked this past episode.
Yeah, me too. It I don't know. They said that they're going to try new things. I liked I don't want to give anything away. I kind of like what they did, and it kind of conflicts with other rules and other movies in the Marvel universe. So that was kind of weird. But I think that it's done differently, and therefore the rules can be different. Yeah, that's a real obscure and like broad way of saying that, but
yeah,
I like that the show. My worry when we started the show was that it was going to be very much like Disney Channel, like Lizzie McGuire meets the Marvel universe, and it really hasn't been that. It's been Lizzie McGuire. Most people don't even know what that is.
Oh my gosh, you just made me feel old by saying that there's people who don't know what that is.
Yeah, I was like,
You're
that's
right, though.
Oh man.
I don't know any of the newer shows that would be like that, but very like Disney-esque kids show, teenager show, and I don't know, it doesn't feel like that.
I felt like Homecoming was more Disney Channel than this show is.
Yeah, it's gotten very. It feels like Marvel, in a good way, and I don't know.
Watching her grow as a character too has been really cool. Mm-hmm. And watching her family kind of grow with her too has been cool.
Yeah, character development's been really awesome. It did that cool thing, I mentioned at the top, not the top of the show, but when we started talking about Miss Marvel, was my complaint was that we didn't have a villain. I think because of that, they were able to really focus on the character development. It wasn't so much about this person versus this person. It's more muddled than that in a really fun way. And I think now we're starting to get the hero. I think it's interesting too, though, that we haven't gotten. This might give a little bit away, but we haven't got the Miss Marvel costume yet. And so in that way, it's kind of following like Daredevil and Jessica Jones and that stuff.
I mean, think about it too. Like at the end of like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they didn't really get their stuff towards the end either. So
yeah, it's kind of like a Marvel thing to do.
It's building up to their moment, their ultimate hero moment is what it is.
So that's been really cool because it feels like she's just getting like pieces to that costume throughout.
I do kind of like that. Yeah, now that you mention it.
So I don't know. I don't know if there's anything else I can add without giving anything away. LJ, what do you think?
Mm-hmm. I think the build-up has been like there's been some episodes that have been better than others, but it's like now it's like I feel like they've done the thing where they've been doing is where like there's things they build up and they bring up that you're like, okay, how's this gonna affect a later episode? And then so now it's like they're finally building towards that. And I think there's only one more episode this week and that's it.
Yeah, a lot of unanswered stuff. We'll see if they are able to do it. I really wish that these shows would have like 2-hour-long finales. Because it seems like they're so rushed in the end.
They need to do what the Duffer Brothers did and give their shows either a few more episodes or a bit more time. Like I'm okay with some hour-and-a-half long episodes as like finales or something.
Yeah, an hour and a half would be perfect. I feel like the finales in almost every show that we watched so far has almost seemed rushed. It's like they put all of their budget into like a 45-minute situation.
And then they put a lot of budget into like the end credit scenes and all that crap
Yeah.
too. So it's like
it's good, but it just is quick, and it's like, oh, it's over now.
Yep.
I felt like that, I think, with all of the episodes that we've seen so far. So, LJ, you watched a little bit of Dragon Prince?
Oh yeah,
such a good show.
I watched the whole first season within like a week.
Yes, sir.
I forget what pulled me. I mean, not only having you guys talk about it recently, but there was just something else where that made me go, you know what, I'm going to watch this. I found out I was only 3 episodes in whenever I went back to it, and I was like, oh wow, I really didn't give this much, give it a chance much. I love how the plot is very self-contained. It's not trying to be this grand thing all in one season. So there was things that I thought were going to happen like quicker than they were, but like I love the pacing. It's very deliberate, and it's not like, okay, here we're going here to this kingdom or this place one episode, then we're gonna go here one episode. It's like, no, they're actually like spending time in a one place for quite a while and things like that. They're taking their time, and so it feels like it's much more of a personal journey than like, okay, here's this Lord of the Rings like plot like or whatever. It's not this like sprawling story we're telling. But it has a lot that's like we have not. I mean, at least I haven't seen the I've seen a few episodes of season 2 now, but it's like I feel like they're really taking their time in getting before they get going with certain things. At least as far as I've seen. But then things have happened where I'm like, oh, like that's so cool. Like this thing, like there's some cool stuff happening, and there's some great character development. Like I really love the character development.
Yes.
What they do best.
I'm a sucker for good characters and character development, and Dragon Prince has that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like they do the Avatar thing where it's like, oh, like just because they're not on the good side doesn't mean they're they're specifically like evil. Like the lines are blurred, because at least, I mean, I'm saying this because at least like I haven't seen it as far as you guys have, but with what is it, like Claudia and like Soren or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I know technically they're on the opposite side, but they don't feel like they are. Like, I get very Zuko vibes from them. Like, they're not going to stay that way, like, at least as far as I know. So, I love that.
They do a really good job. Like, the bad guys don't think they're the bad guys.
Like, they're really, yes, and I love that, too. Like, and they're not even driven by, like, they're just, it's kind of like they're just doing what their dad says right now, and they don't really necessarily want to, like, I love that. So I love those. Characters are amazing in this show.
Wonderful show. So, probably one of my favorite things on Netflix. I can't wait for more.
Yep. I'm going to try to finish season 2 before next week, which I probably will.
Another great show on Netflix is The Umbrella Academy. It is a mature show, but it is the wonkiest, craziest, like most chaotic show I've ever seen. I don't really know how else to put it. They have a scene where they have a character that just appears, and they're like, oh, when did she get here? And the other character goes, I don't know. And then they just go on with the story with no explanation. And it's like, that's
weird.
Like, I wouldn't have probably even questioned when she got there.
Yeah.
But then I was like, wait a minute. How?
They pointed it out.
Yeah, I'm like, how did she get here?
Yeah.
It was like they knew the audiences would ask, and they were like, so we're just going to say it, and we're not going to care about giving you an explanation, because we don't need to.
See, then stuff like Star Wars gets flack for doing stuff like that too.
But they call themselves out on it.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, which makes it fun. Like, they're very self-aware with it. He's like, I don't know. And it was like, no, now you have to tell me. Doesn't matter. Keep moving on with the story. It's, I feel like the difference with Star Wars is like, we'll tell you someday. And they never tell you.
And they don't. Yeah, that's true.
So this show is like, you don't need to worry about that.
I feel like other shows and movies would not get away with that, but I feel like Umbrella Academy does.
Yeah, just because it's so chaotic the way it is.
Yeah.
The season 3 starts out insanely. I don't want to give anything away. It's just ridiculous. And it's a good reminder of what the show is. You don't really have to watch the other 2 seasons. You need to see them, but you don't need to like go back and look at like recaps or something. You will get the tone of this show. Yeah. You'll get the tone of this show.
I've been meaning to watch more and like watch this new season, but I'm like, I need a recap. I don't remember what's going on. I don't remember.
I think there is a recap in the beginning. You might want that, but as far as the tone goes, you'll be like, oh, this show's ridiculous. I don't really need to know.
Netflix does a good job at catching your brain up with those little like
recap things.
Like,
for sure. Cool. Yeah. Yep.
It's so silly. Yeah, that's all I can give. Klaus is still my favorite character, possibly of any show. He's just wonderful. For those who don't know what the Umbrella Academy is, I guess Gerard Way, the lead singer of My Chemical Romance, made a comic book called Umbrella Academy. And for what I've been reading, I haven't actually read the comic books, but I guess they're more comic booky. They have more superheroes versus villains kind of thing. But the main idea is that these kids are just kind of all born at the same time in 1989, I think. And then they all have powers. They all are born very supernaturally. The women just get pregnant and have a baby within like seconds. And then this guy, this rich man, adopts as many of them as he can. And he gets 7 of them. And they are these misfit children. They're like in their 30s now. And they're terrible superheroes. They all have powers. It's a lot of fun.
I think Gerard Way is actually heavily involved with the show too, from what I heard.
Yes, I believe so. As far as like the musical selection, he has to be, because the music is so eclectic in the show. He might be some kind of
producer role or some kind of role like that.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Production role.
If you want just wonkiness, it is low-key on like hopped up and mature. Like, yeah. So much fun. I love it. So
cool.
Yeah, we'll get into the TV news. We got a few different things here. I guess we'll start with the trailer last too, or end with the trailer. So that's what Shelley did. We'll follow along with that. And start with Disney Plus. We've got a little bit more news for Echo.
Disney Plus.
Oh wait, I messed up. It should have been Netflix first. Oh well.
Oh my gosh.
Netflix Plus, whatever. Disney Plus has Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio returning for Echo before they have their Daredevil show, and I think that's great.
Yep, sign me up.
Yeah,
I didn't really care about. I didn't know what Echo was before, but then when I heard Kingpin was involved, when we watched Hawkeye, I was like, "Ooh, okay." And then now, like that Charlie Cox is going to be in it now too. Like now that all this stuff is happening, I'm like, yes, give me this.
It is really cool. I kind of like that, like the senses, right? So like he's blind and then she's deaf, giving everyone just kind of, I don't know, a spotlight is a really cool thing to do. So I think it's gonna be fun. I'm excited. I love Charlie Cox as Daredevil, so I'm just want more of him. I don't know how much we're actually gonna get of him in the show. I know D'Onofrio, I think, is supposed to be like the main villain.
Yeah, I also just like Echo. So
yeah. Echo's cool.
I think even just that.
She ended up being a more interesting character than I thought she would be. Like as far as I don't know if like her own show worthy, obviously, like yet, but she was cool in Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's weird to make her a hero after making her a villain, but that might be that character development we were talking about could be cool.
Exactly.
And then I did do this backwards. Netflix is making a show, for better or worse. And that show is Death Note, which Netflix made a movie of Death Note, and it wasn't great. So I don't super love this idea, but the Duffer Brothers' new production company, which is called Upside Down Pictures, is going to be making it. The Duffer Brothers, if you don't know, are the directors for Stranger Things.
If you don't know.
Yeah. So obviously,
I guess some people don't, but
obviously I trust them because obviously they've done such a great job with Stranger Things, but also I just really get tired of people trying to make live action westernized versions of manga and anime. I'm just really tired of it. Please stop. Cease. Cease now.
And if they give, I think Cody mentioned this earlier, if they give the Duffer Brothers like full reign to do kind of whatever, I think they could do some real cool stuff with it and kind of make it their own. Like you were saying, I don't know if I would want it to be like specifically about Light and L and all that. Like,
see, that's kind of me.
Yeah, make it a new story or something.
I think just taking the concept of, you write in this book and that person dies, and then making kind of a horror show based on that could be cool.
Yeah, like a different Death Note, a different I don't remember the names of the demons, but like the
yes.
Like Ryuk and stuff.
I don't need Ryuk to be in this.
Like
I don't need William Dafoe to play Ryuk in this.
We could even have them they could do the sequel, because the sequel already has Donald Trump in it.
What?
They made a manga sequel.
Oh, yeah.
And
Really?
apparently it's actually quite good. I've never read it, but all I know is that apparently Donald Trump is in it. And I think
funny.
I don't know if he kills Donald Trump, but he might. With the Death Note.
This is also promising.
But it's not Light, it's some other guy. I think Ryuk is still in it.
Yeah, it's a new
some
character. Cause,
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like a guy who's like actually just better than Light. Like, he's a better person.
They could totally do it off the sequel then. I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Supposedly this is not going to have anything to do with the movie. And that would be good.
Oh, I hope not.
Yeah.
Good.
This is also kind of promising. The production company, although it's made by the Duffer Brothers, it's going to be led by Hilary Levitt, probably, who has worked on shows such as Orphan Black and then Ozark, which have kind of that suspense-ness to them.
Yes.
So
that makes sense.
I think that would work really well with Death Note if Death Note doesn't have a big looming anime-looking demon CGI'd into it.
Yeah, I think,
I think it would be cool to have a kind of like Final Destination situation, and you like write it in the book, and then what you write in the book happens, and then it's like a murderer out there doing it, and they gotta catch the murderer. I don't know. That could be cool. We'll see. I don't know. I don't need a sequel to the movie.
There's a lot of cool options they could do. I just don't know that anybody will be pleased with anything that gets done.
Yeah, for sure. And then the final thing, this is it's really positive to me. It's a documentary, and I love documentaries like this. But it's a documentary about Industrial Light and Magic, which is a special effects company. They kind of pioneered like most modern special effects, I feel like. The documentary is called Light and Magic, and it is 6 parts, LJ had mentioned. Comes out July 27th. And George Lucas made this company basically for Star Wars because he didn't have a production company, a special effects company. So he was like, I guess we're just going to get a bunch of engineers and make one. And then it's become this super renowned thing. I didn't know they created Photoshop, or what is now Photoshop at least. That's mentioned just in the trailer, and I'm like, what else can I learn? That's cool. Special effects has changed.
Yeah, what is a little bit funny about this, a little bit topical, is that I've seen there's a interview where Taika Waititi and Tessa Thompson kind of like pick through maybe other Marvel movies, but at least Thor 4, right? And they kind of pick through and sort of make fun of the special effects and see like, is this like, this doesn't look like real at all or whatever. And a lot of people have been getting mad about it because just workers in the industry have been sort of like raising their voices like, hey, this is actually like, it's similar to how, to like the same type of burnout and same type of conditions that a lot of like big game developers are sort of facing. It's kind of a similar thing where it's like these VFX artists are getting pushed to a limit and not being appreciated. And so a lot of people are like looking at this video that of the director and one of the lead actresses in this like multi-million-dollar movie making fun of it and are getting really like mad about it. But I mean, not to say that Light and Magic has anything to do with that per se, but I do think it's a little bit funny. I do think it's a little bit ironic how they're like, well, let's talk about, this production company and like this and these artists from, back in the day, and like how it kind of brought up to things how they are today, but then also like Disney also still just relying too much on these artists but not respecting them enough and making fun of their work. Like, it's just kind of funny to me.
So I think it's interesting too, because I wonder if Taika and Tessa Thompson, I wonder if they're just mocking fans in particular too.
Right, that could have been their angle.
A lot of people are always like, oh, the CGI looks bad and this looks like it this way, but in my mind I'm like, okay, like we say that, but also, do we really know how the sauce is made, and do we really know how it's done? For
sure, yeah. But and that could have been their intention the whole time. I just know a lot of people, like even people who have worked in that industry, who used to work for Disney and got pushed out of the industry because of the way Disney has been so demanding. Yeah. are not
liking it.
it.
Former VFX artist, I think, that spoke out recently from
some
headlines I saw earlier today, actually.
I would hope they touch on that. My expectation, if they do, would be that Disney would be like, but now we're good people, and have everyone say how great they are. But I would hope that they at least touch on the long hours and the abuse.
And ILM does more than just Disney and Marvel. It's all of Hollywood, basically.
Yeah, I mean, they are it now.
They're the all-stars.
But Disney putting it on, I would assume that there's got to be a little bit of a bias. We'll see.
Oh, well, of course, because it's George Lucas's company.
Right. Well, exciting.
Disney's like, hey.
And that comes out, like I said, July 27th.
Yep, I'm excited for it. Cool. It did give me, like, a lot of nostalgia and just, like, give me good feels.
Mm-hmm.
We will end the podcast there then. Are we geeking out about anything else this week?
Not that I can think of.
I didn't get to watch it live, but Summer Games Done Quick did happen this last week.
Or
the week before. So I totally missed it. I didn't even realize it was happening, or else I would have watched more. But I'm going back and I'm rewatching some of the runs for some of the games I'm interested in. What's a very interesting run in particular that I watched recently is the Super Mario Sunshine run, 120 star, which that in itself is not that interesting. Like, I think they've done that run before. They've released on any percent, but 120 star, I don't know. Like, it's a fun game. But the runner, like 45 minutes into the run, loses all of his lives. And he didn't save. And he has no backup save. And he has to start over. But it's like with the support of like everyone behind him, what they end up doing is they turn it into a challenge run where they just see, how many stars can you get with the rest of the time that we already allotted for you. And then people kind of chime in. They're just like, oh, well, I'll donate for this much for every star you get. And so actually, like, in the end, like, got more money than it probably would have otherwise, which is, like, very wholesome. That, and I've watched the Amori speedrun. Amori I've talked a lot about. That's a good game.
That's on Game Pass now.
And what's cool about that run is that it actually doesn't spoil tons of the game. It does spoil some of the game, but not, like, tons of the game, so you can still, like, kind of watch it and still get a good experience if you want to play for the first time. So, I don't know. If you like speedruns like me, it's good to have all those. I think they've uploaded all of them at this point. So
nice. I'm trying to think, but I don't know if it was from this past one, but apparently there was a run that was apparently faked and it was all pre-recorded video.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah, I have to look and see. I think it was recent.
I need to hear about that. I'm
gonna look that up.
I would be surprised because this one, I wouldn't be as surprised if it was one of the past ones in the last year or two because they've been all online. What's crazy about this last one is that it actually was in person again and people wore masks and stuff. So that's cool. Because it's not, obviously I'm still watching online. Most people watch those things online, but I do think it's more enjoyable when there's a crowd behind them cheering them on and stuff. It feels a little more grounded than just a guy with a webcam and you hear a couple people and that's it. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, that's no good.
Let's see. Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance was the game showcased at SGDQ 2022.
Oh boy!
Yep.
I'll need to look into that.
It was pre-recorded.
Oof. That's funny.
Yep.
Anyway.
All right.
That's it.
Well, we'll end it there then. Shelley, where can they find you at?
You can find me on Twitter at TheShellshock24.
And LJ?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at LJ the Paladin, and streaming on our Twitch channel on Friday nights, twitch.tv/Geeks Under Grace.
Cool. You guys find me on Instagram at Cody Armour. You can see my new dog. Get a new dog today.
Yeah.
Dog.
I'm so excited.
She's so cute.
Yeah. Friends of ours are moving, and they needed couldn't have her anymore. She's great. Anyways, keep gaming, keep praying, and God bless.
Bye-bye.
Peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Geeks Under Grace podcast. We love hearing from you, so feel free to ask us questions or just comment on the show by using the hashtag GUGcast on Twitter, or by joining the GUGcast questions channel in the Geeks Under Grace Discord. If you like this episode, consider leaving a review or rating of our show on your favorite podcast app. If you want even more Geeks Under Grace, you can always go to geeksundergrace.com. We love you all so much, so thank you for listening.
It's on!